Hey guys, so today we're gonna do the thermal replacement on my Lenovo E585. That's a Ryzen laptop, which is significant with thermal paste because I've been gaming on that laptop for about a year and a half now, and it seems like it's overheating. I read a few Reddits that say that the thermal paste on that laptop is adequate, but we're gonna throw the Thermal Grizzly pad that I had for my MacBook in the previous video. The link should be in the description. And then we're gonna use that same Thermal Grizzly. I'll read the instructions this time, make sure that it's put on properly. I'm thinking that I want to game on it a little bit, just to show you what's happening and what it's capable of, so you guys can see for yourself an improvement if there is one. I'm gonna see how I can record the screen on my, I don't know how to do that, so I'm gonna figure that out, and then I'll show you some of that gaming, and then we'll change the thermal paste, and then we'll redo it with the same games. Right now I play Forza and Call of Duty, so we'll just play some Forza and Call of Duty and show you how that looks. So you can see where the laptop is sitting. It's plugged in, it's on a granite countertop, and airflow is getting to the bottom. So that's how our testing is gonna go, and let's check it out. All right guys, this is take two. So I'm not sure if I include the previous clip. I tried to screen capture the performance of this laptop, but since the CPU is so taxed and the CPU is also the GPU, that it just couldn't really do it properly. So now I'm just going to try to record it with my phone. Right now we're idling somewhere around 70. I was just playing some games. It typically idles around 50. But the max while I was playing previously was 89 degrees Celsius. So that's too hot. So let's open the game here. So you can see that it is pretty smooth now that I'm not capturing. So let's play quick play and let's see if it's playable. And like I said, the frame rate's pretty low, just so I can turn on VSync because it was way too choppy if not. But let's see if it's playable. So typically I run Shadow on this laptop, so I don't even use the graphics card really. I just do some cloud gaming, just so I can turn up the graphics all the way. Okay guys, so you can see here, definitely playable on a Vega 8. You could definitely play Call of Duty on a Vega 8. Like I said, frame rate is nothing to brag about, but I play on Shadow regularly, and I noticed that like snappiness is definitely sacrificed for graphics on that. So this is not a terrible alternative if you're not like super picky, and I'm not super picky. The screen is 1080p. I selected that option, but you can, it also came with the 720. Yeah, so but I think this is performing pretty well. Let's see if we can get a kill here, guys. I wish there was a UAV. Oh, you guys saw that? That was still slow, but you know, I'm used to the Shadow, and there's just like a millimeter, like a millisecond latency, and there's definitely no very, oh man, couldn't reload in time. I should have took my rifle out. Where the CPU is hitting. So there's a few minutes. So the CPU, oh, it's not too bad, 72 degrees. Let's keep gaming. Let's see if we can really push it. And you can see that the GPU is maxed out. So it's not like we're not pushing it, we're definitely pushing it. Oh, I didn't see him. I'm sure you guys saw him. I'm kind of doing a few different things. I'm not good at this game, by the way. I've been playing this game for 3 weeks. This is just literally, like, when I say I've been playing it for 3 weeks, like, I've never played Call of Duty in my life. Well, one time I played, like, the opening mission of, like, a campaign mode, but we all know Call of Duty's not about that. And turn, let's see, so now we're at like 79 degrees. Let's see if I can turn this up. Let's see if I can squeeze some more performance out of this thing right now for you guys. Graphics. So let's see what I will do here. So the screen. Yeah, because we're at 1080. Screen refresh rate 60. We're syncing every frame. I'm gonna keep the frame rate of 40. I don't think it can handle, but let's turn some of these resolution low, particle quality, that's unimportant, resolution. Let's do this year. Shadow map resolution, let's enable that. Okay. So now we should be really taxing it, and I can hear the fans already jump. We're at 75. So let's see what, if it's just gonna stall, or I've never turned it up this high, so let's see if it's playable like this. Vega 8's pretty impressive, guys. I'm not even gonna lie, I've been using it for a year. There are times I'm like, oh wow, like this is an APU, this is not a GPU, which is pretty killer. Yeah, I'm fully happy with it. I'm planning, so after I do this thermal paste, I'm going to play with it for about a week, and I'm going to do a formal review of this laptop. I know it's an old laptop, but the E595, no, the E595 is out right now. And at the price point it's at, this winter, it will be a great option. So the E595 is the 3rd gen version, or 3rd gen Zen, versus this is 2nd gen Zen. Yeah, so it should improve dramatically, and so that should be even a more viable choice, and might be something I look into getting this holiday season. I also think I'm gonna we're gonna do some cool things on the channel for sure. So since I was jealous of that guy's shotgun, we'll do shotgun sniper and
team deathmatch.
Okay,
Here they come.
I'm
Attack.
noticing increase, obviously resolution, texture, and it's just a little bit choppy. It's still just basically it's not there. I still killed him, but you guys can see it's really not very playable. Let's see how the CPU is doing. It's 82. Yeah, so it's not great. I wish I could have just a little bit less choppy. Come on! Oh, he had a sniper. Oh, not even. I didn't even touch him. Shotgun is not long distance, huh? You know, it's temperature is pretty decent right now. It's at like 61 degrees, and I was just coming off gaming. It makes me think that maybe it's not the thermal paste, but I still want to replace it just because we're here, we're gonna do it. But you could see it's like I jumped off of Call of Duty and it's just took a nosedive in temperature, and something that didn't have proper thermal paste doesn't really react like that. It just stays hot. It just traps heat, and so I don't think it's trapping heat. I think it's just a hot CPU, and this is a very cold countertop, very cold, like I said, and it's helped. It's equivalent to what I would say as a cooling pad. So. Hey, what's up, guys? So, laptop's still on. Let's turn this thing off. And so, I don't really have a teardown guide for this Lenovo E585. It's kind of I'll start taking screws out and see how it goes. But I'm not too worried. I think we'll be all right in terms of taking it apart. Like you guys have known, I've taken plenty of things apart and putting it back together, and most of the time they don't break during that process. So let's just get to it. I looked on Thermal Grizzly's website if there was instructions on how to take apart, how to apply the minus pad 8. And it seems to me it's just like, oh, just cut it and put it on, like nothing too crazy. So that's what we'll end up doing. Okay. Back panel's off. So it looks like I'm not gonna, oh man, the motherboard in this thing is so huge. You guys can see it. This thing is enormous. I've been here twice before, once for each of the RAM slots. But I believe this right here is the CPU, and these pipes are, I think I can do this without taking off the CPU, which would be so clutch. Or taking out the motherboard, which would be super clutch. I would love that, but let's just dive into it and see if it's possible. That was super easy. Super easy. Guys, here we are. So this is the CPU. This is the condition the CPU is in. So you can see that there's a generous amount of thermal paste, yes, and it's very sloppy, and it looks like it's burned out. So there's only a little bit of thermal paste left, really, on top of the die and on the heatsink, and it was totally messing up the thermal capacity of this thing. So let's switch that out and let's get this thing running. So this is I didn't really, in the last video I didn't really talk about this properly. So this is Arctic Clean, from the makers of Arctic Silver, and I got this probably 10 years ago, and they're big bottles, and essentially it's supposed to help you remove like all the impurities from a heatsink, and to a certain extent the CPU. I'm not sure if you're really supposed to use on the CPU or not, but this thing, I bought this Arctic Silver, God knows when, 2014. But you're like, oh no, like, why are you mixing thermal paste and thermal pad? Well, before you talk, let's just watch what I'm about to do. So, or take my, actually I'm not going to introduce too much crap. So this is thermal paste. And I'm just pushing it into all the pores I just created. And now I'm wiping it off. So now there's like a film of Arctic silver on this copper that should bridge the gap to the pad, theoretically. Let's get the -8 out. So I know in my previous video I put the pad on the CPU, and I was really pissed about how it sat, and there was a sliver of the corner of the CPU that wasn't covered, and I was really pissed about that. And so now we're just gonna eliminate all those issues where I'm just gonna cut this to the heatsink. FYI, I didn't struggle this hard with the MacBook. It's just, you know, just maybe feel a little unsteady today. Okay, that's a much better application. There's still plastic on that side, so I'm happy with that. That will do. Heatsink done, and that goes away. You gotta have patience. That's the key thing. If you have patience, you can do this. Just trying to make sure I don't leave any fibers, so I'm brushing everything to one side, like I'm broming the top. So yeah, so I think that's adequately clean. You know what? There's actually this one corner. Maybe. Just a little bit. You don't know what's in that corner, you know. It could be the GPU is in that corner, so. Cool. Let's see how this goes. I think it's lined up as I'm gonna get here. Okay. Before I put all 4 sides down, let me lock in opposite sides here. Okay. And it's down. Thermal paste is installed. These screws were tightened down pretty tight. So I'm gonna do the same. I like that Lenovo, even though they're a Chinese company, they do not use metric screws, and it's frustrating that Apple, that they're an American company and they use metric screws just to screw with you, because they don't want you to take this thing apart, which is annoying. But I will say that when I took apart my original Xbox when I was a kid, that used metric screws, and that was an American product, so it's not just Apple. Alright guys, that was easier than I was anticipating. It didn't take too much of anything. And if you buy a Lenovo E5 95 or 85 used, you should be able to do it. On an Omar scale of 1 to 10, that was a solid 1. So that's nice to get something that's that easy and straightforward to do. All right, guys. So I'm gonna turn this thing on. It was pretty straightforward. I cleaned up the Thermal Grizzly off of the heatsink completely, and I cleaned up the CPU. I put the Thermal Grizzly down on the heatsink versus the CPU this time. I put it on, and let's see. I did not break the computer. It turned on. So yeah, so let's monitor. Alright guys, so I just opened up Modern Warfare and the temperature spiked. It's at 85 right now, which is, and this is exactly what happened with the MacBook. It spiked initially when I put it on, and then, but it seems like it's no worse. Oh no. Let's reopen that. It seems like it's no worse than it was. Alright guys, let's see how the previous settings react. So the thermal paste is on, and as you'll see here, the temperature is pretty hot, 84 degrees Celsius. So it's hotter than it was previously before. And that's to be expected considering that's what happened. So the max, so the computers are running for a few minutes, and the max we've gotten is 91 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot, hotter than we would have gotten with just the thermal paste. And the minimum is 52 degrees Celsius, which is still not great considering we were hovering lower than that earlier. So let's see.
Deathmatch. Here they come. Attack!
So these are the previous settings that were really tough to play, and the thermals are not good so far, guys. So
Reloading.
they topped out at 91,
I'm with you.
and they were idling around 70. So I was idling around 50 before. So it seems like the thermal paste needs to bed in, just like the Thermal Grizzly did. But am I crazy, or am I noticing like? So these are the settings that were turned up a little bit higher than the base settings that I showed you previously, and it seems more playable. I'm not even joking. It's more playable. That's so curious because like the thermals it's hotter than it was before, but yeah, I'm not sure if there's what's going on. Oh man. Hey guys, so conclusion, Thermal Grizzly's in. I'm idling higher at first than even the old thermal paste, but after a year and a half of gaming, that thermal paste absolutely needed to be replaced. If Thermal Grizzly doesn't give me the results I want, I'll go and install some Arctic Silver because I know that works and that lasts. But I'm pretty optimistic that it'll perform adequately, especially after I bed it in and it gets some time to really kind of like fill in the crevices and gaps of the CPU and the heatsink. Outside of that, I really think that this is a pretty cool install for you. Anybody that has a similar laptop can really do that, and I'll do it again on different laptops, and you'll get to see the part that got cut out. It was pretty. I just cut the shape of the thermal paste, just like I did in the previous video, to the shape of the heatsink, and I put it on the heatsink this time instead of the CPU. All right, guys. So follow my Twitch. Subscribe if you haven't. Like, comment, make fun of me, please. Just call me stupid, please. Outside of that, yeah, let me know what you guys think if you have any questions, and hope you guys take care until next time.